Right now is Patrice Lee Onwuka. She's with the Independent Women's Forum, along with Kennedy here in the studio. Great to see you, ladies. Thanks very much for joining us. So when we talk about socialism versus capitalism, you don't really hear the cost of socialism all that much, Kennedy. I mean, I'm listening to Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez talk about free everything, but you never hear who's going to foot the bill.
Well, it's interesting because you have the Urban Institute, the Mercatus Center, and even Vox have done cost-benefit analyses, not only of Medicare for All, but some of the other plans that she's got, including free college tuition. And Vox, which skews pretty far left, said it's about a $42 trillion proposition over 10 years. She has not been adequate in her explanation of how they're going to pay for it, other than saying, well, we can fund endless wars. So what does that mean? Does that mean you're going to limit government funding completely and take $500 billion and somehow move that over to your pet project? That doesn't even come close to covering some of the things that, these great intention, good feelings that are unsustainable.
Yeah, and while people are fleeing the socialism in Venezuela, you got Alexandria. Exactly. She's pushing it in the U.S. Patrice Lee, join in here. Your take on this?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, this is what happens when the jewel of South America wasted its oil reserves, wasted all of its prosperity through socialist policies, redistributing wealth and private property, overtaking private companies. This is what happens. And, it's surprising to see what's happening to these people. I think I saw a report that on average, people lost 24 pounds last year because of malnutrition. People can't find food to buy in the shelves. There's a black market for basic necessities. This is what the left wants us to turn into. I do not want to see the United States waste its wealth and prosperity chasing after redistribution.
Yeah, I think the American people are figuring it out. Kennedy, what do you think? I mean, do you think people understand the implications of this?
Yeah, I think people like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and Bernie Sanders, I think they get a lot of attention. And Bernie struck more of a chord in 2016 when the economy wasn't doing as well as it is now. It's a really tough sell in a good economy because there are people who are fleeing Venezuela, pouring into Colombia, who will say, we want to work. We don't want handouts. We want jobs. And people in this country are finding the same thing. It's much better to at least have the opportunity to create your own economic mobility as opposed to relying on a government that will exhaust its tax base very quickly.
So going into the midterm elections, Patrice, do you think the American people understand what we are talking about here and understand the implications of socialism?
They do. I mean, a recent poll found that more than half of Americans want government policies that actually expand opportunity rather than deal with income inequality. What's interesting is Bernie Sanders in 2011 was hailing Venezuela as an example of how socialism works. It's surprising how quiet he is right now. And I think it's very wrong. It's right to want to ensure that people have opportunity and have a good paying job and can take care of their families. But it is not the right avenue to take other people's property and wealth and income and spread it around equally. You're just spreading equal misery, not equal prosperity.
Yeah, it's interesting. When you look at the Democratic Party today, Kennedy, you're not going to be able to resonate with the leadership unless you go all the way to the left.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. And the national thrust of the Democrat Party is becoming more and more progressive as people like Gavin Newsom and Kamala Harris take a larger role. But then you have these local races where people like Danny O'Connor and Connor Lamb, who are running on local issues, they tend to be more moderate and certainly more fiscally conservative because that's what their constituents want.
All right, Kennedy, Patrice Lee, great to see you both. Thank you so much, ladies.
Thank you.